Yeah, let me describe it step by step. So the first thing, you bring the theologians together and you say, hey guys, is there a problem here? Mainline seminaries are shrinking. The link to the church is often tenuous. Sales for academic theological books are plummeting. Students are coming less and less often. And you yourselves often say it's not clear what our identity is anymore. And I'd love to have this group of 40 of the leading theologians, progressive theologians from around the country, say, yeah, we believe there's a problem here. We believe there's an issue, right? And then to say, all right, let's start from the ground up. Can theology be done as a private enterprise? Can I sit in this office, type some words into a computer, which is my thoughts on this or that theological topic, and consider that that completes the story? And I think the answer has to be no. Without a corporate identity, we're useless. And for a Christian theologian, you know there's a ready-made public. They're called Christians. And a lot of them go to a place called the church. And it seems to me that that's such an obvious place for us to reconnect with. And there's a little bit of resistance, maybe there's some scarring or something that theologians have, but I'm finding that it doesn't take very long for people to say, you know, that's what I really want to connect with. I want to connect with ordinary Christians. I want to connect with church folk. I want to connect with the church as an institution. And then the door's open, right? So now what can we do precisely? Well, now you've got some kind of humbled theologians who say, you know, we haven't done very well. Can you help us do this better? Well, what would we do? Tripp, I love the plan that you and Tony Jones have cooked up to take a theologian, sit him or her in a chair, and stand behind the camera with a yellow card or a red card, like in a soccer match, and then ask them a theological question about God or Christ or the church. And then as they start talking, as soon as they start to talk in a way that the average person's going to find problematic, you hold up a yellow card. That's a warning. And if they keep doing it, you hold up the red card and you say, sorry, this question is over. You lost, you're off the field. You know, we'll call you back in a little while on the next game. It doesn't take much of that for people to realize that they have to communicate. What makes me hopeful about that is that people talk with students. And students, when they come to a seminary, don't know theology. So they must have the ability to communicate in some way. So let's take their Christian beliefs, let's take their thoughts about what the church might do, and ask them to say that in a clear way. Okay, now we've got theologians who know Scripture, who know the theological tradition, who know the contemporary context, academically and socially, and who are now willing to try to speak to people. And then the next thing is to make the links with the denominations. So our second event in May is to get denominational leaders to come together and to set them in dialogue over the internet, over phone calls, and actually in person, to see if we can't get some real partnerships going. And then we need to transform the seminaries themselves. So in September, we bring together the deans and presidents from seminaries and div schools across the United States. And we say, look, here are the results. Here's this group of theologians who say, we don't want business as usual. We want a vibrant Christian identity. In dialogue with politics, in dialogue with other religions, but it has to still be a Christian identity. And we want to do this differently. And the denominations are saying, we're in this, we want to work with you. And then the academic deans and the presidents, who are already seeking to have relevant seminaries, because those are successful seminaries, we have them on board as well. And that's just year one. And then we've got a couple more years to see how we can make this thing really happen. But the bottom line is, if ordinary folks aren't involved, people who have never been to a seminary class, people who do some reading on their own, who are thinking Christians, and who say, I want to ask some straightforward questions and I want some straightforward answers. They, to me, are the bottom line. Those folks are the ones that keep us honest. And as soon as they hold up the yellow card or red card, metaphorically, and say, you're not speaking to me, then the experiment has failed.